What is going on, soccer card fiends? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we are here with the October PSA Pop Report breakdown, where I go through most of the notable rookies in the soccer market and a lot of their pops and see how they change over the last month. For those that aren't aware, we do this every month, and I find it fun for myself and hopefully for you guys to be able to just go and see what's really changing. It always sort of surprises me one way or another, and I think it's a nice way to keep in touch with what really is going on beneath the market. If you enjoy it, make sure to leave a like. But with that said, let's go ahead and get on into it. So we'll try to focus on the top 2/3 of the screen since my face is covering a part of it. But we'll start with Stanley Matthews. We go from the oldest to the newest. And I don't like to do too much of the vintage stuff. But once it gets to around Pele era, that's where it really picks up for me. So for Stanley Matthews, not really too much going on. Overall, this is really what you guys focus on. There's monthly change right here in terms of different PSA pop ranges. Then it has the total monthly change over here, and then at the bottom it is added up as well, so it kind of gives us a good indicator. Green is good, red is bad. So for instance right there, that's not good. Pretty easy. As far as DiStefano, only one card was added, and that was, I'm guessing, a Termo. Of course it was. Nothing too crazy right there. With Puskas, he had 11 added, most of his later stuff, which makes sense. Grincha had only 2 added to his pre-1958 items. Then with Pele, this is one that I don't do enough justice. I will add some. If you guys have any ideas for Peles that you want me to track, let me know. I just find it so difficult because there's so many different Pele rookies, and I honestly don't want to go through all of them, so we have to be somewhat particular with what we choose. I do feel like the Aquarella makes a lot of sense to put in here since that is more of a high pop one, and I want to put more of the high pop ones in here than the low pop ones. But even with the high pop ones, only 5 added this month, so nothing too crazy. Eusebio this month only had 4 in total added. His are pretty rare across the board. The only ones really coming on in are the Calciatores, which are the most plentiful of what we have here. Beckenbauer had some pretty major ones added this month. There was 2 in the PSA 8 through 10 range of the Bergman Fußballs that was added. Pretty sizable cards right there, so be on the lookout. Jared Muller, nothing too crazy going on in his pop, which is a little strange considering Beckenbauer is quite the opposite. Bobby Moore only went up 4, so nothing too wild in that regard. Cruyff stayed pretty steady. If we look here, the Verlag had 0 added this month. The Palarex had 1 in a PSA 5 through 7 range. The Vanderhout is on fire as ever in terms of population growth. And really, that's been one of the more troublesome ones for people to try to wrap their head around. For a long time, was not very plentiful at all. Now it's very plentiful and in high grade, which is kind of strange. Platini actually had none added this month, which I thought was kind of strange considering that sticker's sort of in the same realm as the Vanderhout, where a lot of them were coming to market in high grade. Maradona, this was a little strange. I thought there was 4 disc, which was pretty big. There was also a PSA 5 through 7 graded, actually 2 of them. In addition to that, there were 8 headshots graded of his 78 crack, also a good amount in high grade. That was a 33% increase. There's also a PSA 8 through 10 of the caricature that was graded as well. And somehow the Calciatore managed to make it out without any more being graded, which for being the highest pop one, pretty impressive. Baresi really didn't have anything too much going on in his market, neither did Hugo Sanchez or Ruud Gullit. The 70 to 80 range is kind of weird, I feel like, where there's not a ton of stuff being graded. It's definitely reflected in pop reports as well. It's not just something I'm thinking of. Lothar Matthäus had 4 added in his total pop. Mark Van Basten had 1 added in a PSA 5 through 7 range. This part I thought was pretty surprising with Baggio and Maldini, so we'll take a look up here. Right here with Maldini, we can see that there's a 30, 10, and 32% increase in his pops. Overall, 16 being graded along with the Calciatore Flash. And with Baggio, we had the same thing where he had 8 of his Calciatore rookies graded along with 4 of the Flash, which is a pretty significant amount considering that there's only been 16 in the ranges that I'm tracking up until this point. Outside of that, Eric Cantona and Bergkamp rookies didn't really move all too much. Zidane up 3 in total. There was a PSA 8 through 10 graded, so a big one there. Rivaldo and Roberto Carlos stuff went up 5 in total pop. Nothing too crazy considering what we've been seeing from there. Brazil has been bringing more stuff to market, but not too staggering right there. For R9, there were 8 rookies graded, most of them being the Voteball Portrait. Then with Beckham, Merlin's continued to be graded a good bit, so 14 more added to the pop in the 5 through 10 range. Pretty much spread across the board, nothing too crazy. His shreddy still insanely rare, at least compared to the other alternatives. Then this stretch here is all pretty similar. We have a +2 in the pop of Buffon. We also have a 6 for Pirlo, which is a little bit higher, of course. And Henry is a +5. Eto'o with a +7. And then we get down to the Premier League guys. We got Stevie G and Frank Lampard. Stevie G, his sticker, pretty rare. Only 2 being graded this month compared to Lampard. Still pretty rare, but 5 being graded for him. Xavi, he had 14 graded this month, 12 of which were the Monday Chromo, none of which came in at a gem mint or mint grade. I thought this was pretty funny. Casillas had a big increase on his PSA 7 through 8, up 38%. Not one of them was able to come in the PSA 9 or 10 range and break into that part, though. His Este sticker is still not graded very heavily at all. Then we have Ronaldinho. His pop did not go up at all, which I thought was pretty nice to see, considering we've been seeing some of the higher end stickers be faked recently. I was a bit worried as to what that would be like. Zlatan as well did not have any increase in pop, which is great to see. Ronaldo, his rookies, he actually did have a football sticker that was graded in the 5 to 6 range, so nothing too crazy there. I do think that's pretty interesting to note. I mean, if only one Ronaldo is getting graded at PSA a month, I mean, you don't need much demand at all, and I would say we have more than plenty demand to meet that supply. Will it stay that way? Who knows, but if it does, that would be pretty wild. Iniesta had a +30 to his pop, all of which were the Monday Chromo. Again, none of them gemmed. Monday Chromo, I mean, a lot of them do get graded. Very rarely do they actually grade well, though. Rooney had a good bit of increase to his Merlin Gold, but outside of that, his other stickers, he only had a +1 to the population, and that was in a PSA 8. Keep in mind when I say only a +1 to the population, that is the population of which I track. It's not the entire pop. For Messi here, we have what I thought was a surprising increase right here. I mean, a 50% increase to his Campi-O. Last month, there was only 4 of them. Now there are 6. And the month before that, I believe there was 3. So we've gone from 3 to 6 pretty quickly. And what I thought was weird about this is that it's one of the more rare 10s. And not only did the person, well, I'm guessing it's the same person. I might be wrong. But just the odds of both of those hitting 10s and not one of them getting a 9, I thought is pretty crazy. But that does lengthen the gap between the most rare PSA 10 at this point, which is the foil, and the other top Liga Monday Chromo. These are the panel rookies of Messi. Not as aesthetically pleasing, but given that that's gone from 3 to 6 pretty quickly, it's no longer really in contention. The Este sticker had no increase in pop, and overall, it wasn't too crazy of a month. The Campi-O and the Campione cards are getting graded a good bit, but that's to be assumed at this point. Actually, very surprising as well is that Monday Chromo didn't have any graded, which, just looking at that now, I find that very hard to believe. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you check your work. I did indeed forget that. There's a +1 to the PSA 9 pop and a +5 to the PSA 8. So this month, no increase to the Mega Cracks Blue number 35 card, which I thought was pretty strange. In addition to that, no increase to the sticker, no increase to the Monday Chromo foil. But in total, there are 50 more Messis going to market, which this is what I was talking about with the Ronaldo thing. 50 compared to 1, pretty sizable difference. Long term, I don't worry about guys that have 50 coming to market a month for someone like Messi. I think that there's more than enough demand. I worry more for the Baggio Maldinis that, you know, there's maybe 20 or 30, and that's a lesser caliber player in the grand scheme of things. And finishing out the list, we have Sergio Ramos, his 2004 items. The biggest increase was to the Monday Chromos this month. Lewandowski only had 1 rookie sticker being graded, and Mbappe had 27 of the items that I track, which is the Panini Foot, the Topps Chrome Refractor, the Select Unlimited Potential, and the Prism Silver. Funny to look that, you know, the rookie sticker is much more plentiful than everything else here. I'd imagine that's part of why its price has been pretty suppressed for a while now. Initially, whenever I was getting into the soccer card market, I was trying to do my flipping and whatnot. I really did like and did flip some of the Mbappe stickers, but realistically, I don't see what the catalyst is at this point, especially now when you have these new shiny things that are distracting people, where you're going to have Mbappe signatures, you know, your first autos, then your first other product autos, and then all this other. It's just too much at this point, and I feel like that's what happens with a lot of the modern guys, which is why I don't track anything post Mbappe. I did do Haaland at one point, but his numbers were so high it just wasn't even really that fun. And anyone else after that, I couldn't even imagine. But if you have any ideas for basically players pre-2016, let me know. I'll definitely be willing to add quite a few players. I like to build the catalog, maybe 2 or 3 players every month. So at that point, we can just track as much as possible, get as much info out there for you guys. But hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, again, make sure to leave a like. In addition to that, if you want to see more content like this as soon as it goes live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.